Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your Manchester United Transfer News Daily, where we talk about all the latest Manchester United transfer news and give it that real fan opinion. And I'm excited this Friday morning because there's some real young talent that I think Manchester United should be looking at. And excitement is what it's all about. I was talking about it in Huddersfield preview last night, how I wouldn't say I've lost interest. You never lose interest in United, but I've lost interest in these set of players. Whatever they do in the next two games, it's not good enough. Even if they beat Cardiff and Huddersfield 10-0 twice and Lukaku scores 6, it's bollocks. It doesn't mean anything because they've let us down this season and last season in the big games, and we need change. We need excitement. We need enthusiasm. And I think when I talk about Jadon Sancho to start off with, I think for many people he is their sort of dream summer signing. But for me, it goes more than that. I think if we can get a player of this quality in, who is only 19 years of age, who's left this country to go and excel in Germany and nearly get Dortmund the Bundesliga, doing really, really well, potential to be one of the best players in the world. And if United can grab him, they need to grab him now. Massively difficult now that we don't have Champions League football, but that I feel with Jadon Sancho, we're playing. This is where somebody like Jesse Lingard and Marcus Rashford can turn their bad seasons around by basically coaxing Jadon Sancho to come to Manchester United and say, yeah, come here, it'll be great. Because if we bought Jadon, I think we can do a lot of business this summer. You can bring in, maybe a Bruno Fernandes, maybe an Dembele. I would probably dream in with them. But if you bring a Jadon Sancho in, who, regardless of who else comes in, it just gives the fans and the club a big boost to get one of the potentially best players in the world at our club, young English talent. It would be for me, I think it would just be what we deserve as fans, really, is that excitement. We need some excitement, and I think that Sancho factor would do that. And £100 million is probably what it's going to cost, but I feel that he's worth it, and he solves such a massive problem for Manchester United, which is that right wing side. Remember, I've heard it from 3 different people over the last 3 months that Manchester United are seriously in for Jadon Sancho. So I think that we are seriously in for Jadon Sancho, but I respect the fact that he probably doesn't want to come to Manchester United because we're going to be in the Europa League. But he is young enough to maybe not be too concerned about that and think, no, I just want to be back in the Premier League. It's probably the perfect platform for him. It's a bit of a step down from Dortmund, I agree. But coming into Manchester United at 19 years of age, massive club, on its knees, you are developing, the club is developing. It could be the perfect marriage. And for £100 million, I think I would be more than happy that we did it. Chances of it happening as a percentage, I think it's way down at like 20-30%. But I think if the club were listening or were thinking about how do we reinvigorate this fan base, because I tell you what, if you go into next season with Martial, Lingard, Rashford, Sanchez and Lukaku, forget about it. The morale is on the ground amongst the fans. They're fed up with these set of players. Some of them I think can turn it around, but the Lukakus and the Sanchez's really, no one's interested in them. They need to go, and that's why I think a signing like Jadon Sancho would be absolutely perfect for us. Let me just bring in Football Index, link in the video description. Remember, you've got to be over 18 if you want to play this, and do gamble responsibly. Effectively, what Football Index is, it's a football index where you can buy shares in the players all around the world and make money off it. Now, unlike your traditional bet where you might bet £10 on United winning and you lose all £10, if you buy yourself a few shares in Jadon Sancho at $5.66 a share, and his price drops a bit, you can sell those shares and get most of your money back. But with someone like Jadon Sancho, his price is probably going to go up. If you look over the last 3 months, it's gone up from around £4 all the way up to $5.50. The way players' prices go up are performance on the pitch and news in the news. Now, what will happen with a lot of players over the summer with the Football Index stock market is that players' prices will go up quite steeply if they're involved in transfer activity. So Jadon Sancho, whether he leaves Dortmund or not, I feel that his price will be going up quite a lot. And regardless of whether he goes or not, I think he's a very good investment. So I'm going to buy myself 10 shares in him. If you look at my portfolio at the moment, I'm trying to get rid of Higuain. It's not going great, but De Bruyne is a player that I think's had a bad season, but will go up next year. Ronaldo, I'm umming and ahhing about. Salah's a good player. Mason Greenwood, very good player to have hold of. And I've got a few United players that I hope are going to bounce back. Tahith Chong, Koulibaly, Bergwijn, Icardi, Dembele, and now obviously Jadon Sancho. Players where I think they're going to move in the summer and their value would go up. If you're going to play Football Index, like I said before, I think that the best way to do it is to go in with about 20 quid to start off with, or a little bit more if you want to, so that if you're buying shares in players, you're buying 3 or 4, 5 or 6, or maybe even 10 shares in them, so that you can see the difference when their price does go up. But realistically, with a couple of games left, unless you're looking at Champions League and European League players, Europa League players, you really want to be looking at players that are going to be moving or involved in transfer stories this summer. Their price will rocket. Link in the video description. Give it a go. Let's talk about Youri Tielemans then. He's a player that's been linked to Manchester United quite a lot, hasn't he? And I've got to admit, I always quite liked him at Anderlecht, but I thought it was a big step up. I remember us playing them in the Europa League. He would probably be about 19 then, and I was like, I don't think United's the right move. Goes to Monaco, does okay, comes to Leicester. I think in 11 games, he's got 3 goals and 5 assists, and he's only been there since January. Very difficult league to come into. He's only 21, centre midfielder, a Leicester team where he's seen a manager go and a new manager come in. He's took to it like a duck to water. He's absolutely been fantastic for Leicester, and Leicester are very keen to sign him from Monaco permanently this summer, but there is no pre-agreement, which I thought there was. And I think this is where Manchester United need to move. He's 22 in May, so he's 22 this month, but you probably get him for about 50 million quid, and I think he's shown his quality potentially over the last 3 or 4 years. He's a name that people know is very talented, but he's now been to the Premier League in a mid-table side, really, and shone. I would love him to come to Manchester United. I think the fact that we're losing Ander Herrera, if you could get Tielemans in, he would be absolutely fantastic. And I know we talk about Ndidi, but this is a deal that Monaco want to do with Leicester. And if United can nip in there and go, yeah, we'll do it, because I don't think Liverpool or a Man City would be looking at him. I think the only Premier League clubs that would look at him would probably be the Spurs, the Arsenals, and us. And then you know, hopefully that we could do it. So I think he's an option for Manchester United, and one that we very much should be looking at as that centre midfielder, box to box with a bit of flair and creativity in. I think he'd be a very, very good player for United. I really like him. I don't know what you lot think. Wan-Bissaka, I know he's a player that a lot of you like. Look, you can read this one of 2 ways. He has said that he's got a contract with Crystal Palace and he'll be a Crystal Palace player next year. Well, he'll be a liar if he isn't. A lot of people saying, well, you know, what do you expect him to say? A lot of players say this sort of thing at this time of the year. Doesn't mean he won't move. But is Paul Pogba sat there saying, I'll be a Manchester United player next year? No, he's not. Because he probably will be, but he might not be. Is David De Gea saying, I'll be a player there next year? I actually think the fact that Wan-Bissaka has said that he'll be a Palace player next year means he'll be a Palace player next year. And I've been saying this for a while. 2 things. I don't think Wan-Bissaka's coming to Manchester United anyway. Secondly, I don't really think we should sign him because he's 21. He's, you know, we've got Dalot at 19. I see enough in Dalot that he can develop and be a really good right back. But if you sign Wan-Bissaka, what happens with Dalot? Like, they're both very young. So I think Meunier is the one to go for at 28 and develop Dalot alongside him. So I don't think it's the right sort of signing for United. Plus, I think it'd be about 60 million quid for a young right back. I don't think he's going to leave. And I think the problem with Wan-Bissaka is, unfortunately, you get these hashtag in the know top reds who start feeding information out, like when Wan-Bissaka didn't play against United when we played Palace the other week. Oh, it's because he's coming to United. No, it's because he was injured. Oh, I've heard that Wan-Bissaka's coming to United. You've heard sod all. United may have an interest in Wan-Bissaka, but there's no concrete negotiations going on because he's clearly not going to come. And you know what? I know that disappoints some people, but you can smell the bullshit a mile off, really. You can do. And I just don't think Wan-Bissaka was ever coming to Manchester United, and I don't think he will. And you know what? I do think we do need to sign a right back, and for me, it's Meunier, and you'd get him for about 20 million. It's a very cheap signing. It works well alongside Dalot. I know a lot of people disagree with that, but there you go. But in keeping with the theme, because we're talking about very young players here, Jadon Sancho 19, Tielemans 21, Wan-Bissaka 21. I want to talk to you about another player that you may have heard quite a lot about. You know, we've heard about Joao Felix, we've heard about Bruno Fernandes, and Ruben Dias is almost an afterthought because Joao Felix and Bruno Fernandes, they're the shiny ones. They're the ones getting all the goals and the assists. And Ruben Dias is sort of like, I think a lot of people think he's a right back. He's a right-sided centre-back for Benfica, and to be honest with you, I like the look of Bruno Fernandes, but I really like the look of Ruben Dias. He's 21. I think he's coming up for 22 this month. Actually, he is 6'1". He has been fantastic for Benfica. I mean, they're calling him the next Van Dijk. I mean, realistically, Van Dijk's a lot taller, but from what I've seen of him, and look, I don't watch a lot of Portuguese football, so I tend to watch a bit of a highlights reel, read around the Portuguese press, not directly linking him to Manchester United, just reading match reports and things like that. And in relation to Dias, they're basically saying, look, very quick recovery rates, very good in the air, very good at reading the game, and a leader. And I think, you know what? We're on a rebuild. Manchester United are on a rebuild. And a right-sided centre-back is probably what we need. And we talk about Koulibaly, and we talk about Skriniar, and we talk about De Ligt. And yeah, I would take all of those over Ruben Dias. But actually, you know what? We've got a lad called Twansibi as well. You've got Lindelof. And I just think, you know what? He's probably not the right signing for us, because I think we probably do need an experienced leader centre-back. But there's something about him that makes me feel more excited than Joao Felix. And he plays for Benfica as well. So I really like the look of Ruben Dias. And he is a name that keeps getting mentioned next to Manchester United a lot. So it's just one to bear in mind with him. I think he's quite an interesting player, and he's certainly one that I like the look at. I just wanted to bring in as well, because we've not mentioned this. I know we mentioned Rabiot a little bit the other day, but there are a few free agents around. I read it in the Manchester Evening News yesterday, and look, there's a lot of crap. There's Monreal, there's David Luiz, there's Gary Cahill. Rabiot is probably the best free agent this summer now that Aaron Ramsey's committed and Ander Herrera's not staying. He's going somewhere else. So Rabiot's probably the bigger one. But Diego Godin of Atletico Madrid. I mean, he's about 92, but no, seriously, he's a centre-back, he's experienced. Very, very short-term experience, though, it would be. I mean, I think he's well into his 30s. So, and I also think that Godin is a brilliant, brilliant centre-back, but would he be a brilliant centre-back in the Premier League? I remember us bringing Laurent Blanc in when he was well into his 30s, and he did well, but he did get exploited a lot for pace as well. So, look, I don't know. I think Rabiot's probably the easiest free transfer to do, but we'll have to wait and see with that. But, look, please do smash a like on the video, and make sure you subscribe if you're new. Jadon Sancho. What I really want to ask you lot today and get in the comments is about this. What is your dream signing for the summer? Because I think we've all, you're not only having one signing, so don't worry about that. What is your dream signing for the summer? I suppose you've got to have an element of realism, because you'll get people saying Neymar and Mbappe. They're not coming to Manchester United. I think with Jadon Sancho there is an element of realism. I don't necessarily think it will happen, but it could happen. So that Jadon Sancho would be my dream signing, because it ticks all the boxes. He's young. He's extremely talented. He's extremely exciting. And if we brought him in, I think personally it would just get me very, very, very excited about next season. Whereas I look at some of these signings, and look, let's just say we buy Koulibaly, Bruno Fernandes, Dembele, Hirving Lozano. I think that would be a very, very good summer for us. Would it make me feel massively excited? A little bit. But if we got Jadon Sancho, I'd be like, I'm very excited. He is symbolic of potentially being one of the best players in the world in the next few years. And we've got him at Manchester United, and we're on a rebuild with him. So for me, it would definitely be him. Please do smash a like on the video. Don't forget to your comments in below. What's your thoughts on Wan-Bissaka? Tielemans, I really want to see what your thoughts are on him. I think he's a real potentially good signing for us. Jadon Sancho would be, who's your dream signing? Ruben Dias, what's your thoughts on him? And remember, Football Index, link in the video description. If you want to have a little play on that, the football stock market, you can buy shares in your players. Get on the players like I showed you on my portfolio, the ones who their prices are going to go up. And their prices will go up over the summer if they're involved in transfers. So Jadon Sancho's, Icardi's, maybe Tielemans as well. He's a good one. I think he's about £2 a share. And like I say, if you're going to play it, I'd go in with a minimum of 20 quid so that you can get yourself a few shares in each player that you go for. Thanks everyone for watching. Back this morning, a little bit later actually, with Ollie's press conference. So that'll be live. I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.